Incredible rescue, mother tiger's touching fight against a giant python, a life-changing discovery. Emma stood in the thick, damp air of the Maplewood woods, her heart racing as adrenaline surged through her veins. She had stumbled upon something that felt surreal, something that would change everything. It was a breathtaking sight, a mother tiger, fierce and regal, ensnared in the powerful coils of a giant python. Every instinct told her to turn away, but she felt an overwhelming urge to help. In that moment, the tiger's struggle mirrored her own, a single mother wrestling against the weight of financial hardship and relentless self-doubt. With each desperate roar from the beleaguered creature, Emma's chest tightened. She felt that raw emotion in every fiber of her being. This tiger was fighting for her cubs, just like Emma fought for her children, Jake and Lily. And while the stakes felt impossibly high, Emma knew this was not just about a tiger. It was about hope, survival, and the lengths we go to protect what we love. As the sun dipped low in the sky, painting the woods with strokes of gold, Emma summoned her courage. Would she risk everything to intervene? The shadows lurked in the background, her neighbor's skeptical whispers echoed in her mind. Wild animals don't belong here, they say. Every disapproving glance from her friends felt like a weight on her shoulders. But on this day, she felt a spark of defiance ignite within her. "Mom, are you okay?" Jake called, breaking her reverie. His young face was laced with concern, mirroring the pure worry that clouded her thoughts. She knelt down, brushing a hand through his tousled hair, and smiled, reassuring him. Together, they needed to act. It wasn't just about the tiger, it was about standing for something they believed in. "Lily, Jake. We're helping," Emma declared, and for the first time in a while, she felt a shift, a sense of unity. They ventured back into the town, rallying others for help, though as word spread, so did the dissent. Friends turned distant, and a palpable tension began to strain their once harmonious community. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As Emma and her children prepared for their bold rescue, the air thickened with tension. Faces turned away, judgment felt heavy. Could they really save the tiger? The moment they reached the tiger again, chaos erupted. The snake struck, the tiger lunged. Emma's heart raced as though it might leap from her chest. For every step forward, they encountered fierce resistance, but Emma was unyielding, driven by love and determination. Yet, with every failing attempt, doubt crept in. Emma's heart sank. Were they fighting a losing battle? Just when everything seemed lost, familiar faces emerged from the shadows. Neighbors, once hesitant, now gathered. Perhaps they shared in her fight after all. In this climactic moment, Emma realized they were not alone. The rift that had grown between them all could finally mend. But was it too late? Could they summon enough strength together, as a community bound through shared purpose? With cheering minds and hopeful hearts, everything hung in the balance. Emma felt the atmosphere shift around her, the onlookers becoming a force of unity. Faces that once held skepticism now glimmered with determination. The murmurs swelled into a ripple of whispers, as if the woods themselves listened, holding its breath for what was about to unfold. "All right, everyone. We need to work together," Emma called out, her voice steady despite the chaos. She locked eyes with a neighbor, Mr. Johnson, a gruff man known for his love of fishing but who'd never shown an interest in anything so wild. He gave her a slight nod, and that sparked something in the crowd. Emma felt the flicker of hope. Maybe, just maybe, they stood a chance. She moved closer to the tiger, her heart pounding as she watched the battle unfold. The python's coils tightened, and with each heave of the tiger's powerful body, she thought of her own struggle, how she fought for a better life for Jake and Lily. This tiger was a mother, too, fighting against the odds for her cubs. It ignited a flame inside her, pushing her to take action. "Jake, Lily, stay close," she called, as the children clung to her sides. The sight before them was terrifying and beautiful all at once. With a burst of bravery, Emma grabbed a branch from the ground. It wasn't much, but it felt like a weapon. Together, we can scare the python away. Mr. Johnson and a few others followed her lead, picking up sticks, stones, anything they could find. It felt primal, a gathering of humans not just to watch but to breathe life into a moment of strength. As they closed the distance to the struggling tiger, the python paused, sensing the shift. It was time to act. In a quick motion, Emma raised her makeshift weapon and shouted, "Get back, python!" Her voice pierced through the tension. The python flicked its tongue, hesitating just long enough for the tiger to make its move. A growl erupted from the heart of the tiger, a sound powerful enough to shake the trees. And then, as if on cue, the townsfolk united, throwing stones and shouting in unison. Emma's heart raced, caught in the electricity of the moment. The snake recoiled, its hold slackening as it shifted its focus from the tiger to the crowd. Emma could see the tiger's powerful muscles ripple as it twisted free, taking in a breath deep enough to roar with triumph. But before relief could wash over Emma, she realized the python wasn't finished. It lashed out wildly, angered and desperate, ready to take aim at the closest target. "Duck!" Emma shouted, pushing Jake and Lily to the ground. The crowd fell silent for a heartbeat, frozen in fear. Emma could feel the panic rising, threatening to overtake her resolve. Would their brave effort bring disaster instead? In that moment, she saw the mother tiger shifting into a protective stance, as if urging them to regroup. This wasn't just about them, it was a fight for the tiger's freedom, for its very life. The stakes soared higher, amplifying every heartbeat. With new resolve, Emma propelled herself forward. Together. One more time. But just as they were ready to charge forward, a thought struck Emma like a bolt of lightning. If only they could divert the snake one last time. What if she paused, her mind racing? What could shift the balance? Would they truly risk everything in this fight? Would the tiger escape, or would tragedy mark this moment? As fear mingled with hope, Emma felt the weight of the world on her shoulders, the victory ahead uncertain, the outcome hanging on the edge of a knife. Emma's mind raced as she searched for the right plan, the right words. What could distract the python just long enough to turn the tide? She glanced back at the crowd, seeing their determination mixed with fear. A flicker of inspiration hit her as she watched the children. They were innocent bystanders, yet they held a unique power, their voices. "Jake, Lily!" Emma called, her heart swelling with urgency. "I need you to help me." The children looked up at her, eyes wide with a blend of confusion and excitement. "What do we do, Mom?" Jake asked, his small voice brave despite the chaos. "Start shouting. Anything. Do you remember how you scare the cats in the yard? Make as much noise as you can." "Okay." Lily squealed and took a step back, ready to unleash her voice. Emma turned back, adrenaline pumping through her veins. "Everyone. Join the kids. We need to make noise. It might just confuse the python." The crowd hesitated for a moment, unsure of what caterwauling could accomplish against such a formidable creature. But then, like a spark igniting kindling, they started to shout. Laughter mixed with loud calls, and even playful taunts were thrown, echoing through the forest. The python, sensing the sudden surge of sound and chaos, turned its forked tongue towards the source. For that moment, it forgot its prey, a mistake Emma hoped to capitalize on. "Now!" she shouted, adrenaline surging. The crowd exploded into action. Armed with branches, they moved closer, shouting louder, hurling stones toward the snake, creating a wall of noise that reverberated through the woods. The tiger seemed to sense their camaraderie too. With newfound power, it roared, the sound a deep reverberation that sent a shiver through everyone present. The python writhed in distress, clearly disoriented by the assault on its senses. "Push! Push!" Emma encouraged, her voice strong. As they drew closer, suddenly, Mr. Johnson stepped forward, brandishing a sturdy branch high like a sword. "For the tiger!" he yelled, channeling the spirit of the moment. The crowd roared back at him, their fear evaporating into a focused sense of purpose. The python hissed, striking out once more, but its aim was now wild, thrown off by the overwhelming noise and chaos. Emma felt a part of the tiger's fight surge within her. They were united, humans and the wild, fighting for life, fighting for freedom. But just as victory felt within reach, Emma locked eyes with the tiger, noticing its demeanor shift. The bravery it had shown moments ago seemed to falter. With a glance, it conveyed a mix of gratitude and urgency. It wasn't just a matter of survival anymore, the tiger was awaiting its own moment to act. That realization hit Emma hard. She turned back to the crowd. We need to give it a clear path. Everyone, step back. What? Are you crazy? Mr. Johnson shouted, the question echoing the thoughts of many. No, listen. We can't trap it. Let it choose its escape. She could feel the weight of the decision. Would they really let it go into the unknown? With uncertainty lingering, the crowd slowly stepped back, their trust in Emma allowing the tiger space to maneuver. In a heartbeat, the air shifted as the tiger obtained its footing. A final growl erupted from the depths of its chest, sending a powerful wave of energy through the clearing, and for the first time, it charged at the python with fierce intent. Emma held her breath, watching nature reclaim its balance, feeling hope entwined with fear. Would they witness a miracle? Or had all their efforts been in vain? As the tiger and the python clashed again, Emma's heart raced. The next moment would define not just this struggle, but the very meaning of bravery and unity. Would they witness the triumph of a mother's fight, or something far more tragic? Her eyes narrowed with focus. This was at the moment they all waited for. The tiger lunged, muscles rippling under its striking orange and black coat, and Emma's heart pounded in her chest. With a powerful swat of its massive paw, it struck the python with a ferocity that echoed through the clearing. The crowd gasped, a collective intake of breath, as the snake recoiled in surprise. But Emma knew better than to let the moment lull them into complacency. Keep yelling. Don't let up. She called out, her voice rising above the chaotic symphony of sound. The beat of her heart matched the rhythm of the rising noise, a powerful pulse that connected everyone present, urging them to act. The children, inspired by their mother's fervor, shouted back in a chorus of encouragement, their voices pure and unrestrained. Go, tiger. You can do it. Jake's voice rang out, and Lily added her own little chant, clapping her hands in celebration of the tiger's fierce determination. With each cry reverberating through the forest, Emma felt a swell of pride. They were a community now, bound by a common cause, standing tall against the odds. But the python was far from defeated. It coiled back and, with a speed that was almost maddening, darted for the tiger, snapping its jaws. The crowd gasped in horror. Move, tiger! Emma cried, the words bursting from her lips as a plea. The tiger dodged just in time, its instincts sharp. Emma noticed for the first time how large and intimidating the python truly was, its glossy scales glistening ominously in the sunlight. The air was thick with tension. Emma's thoughts raced. They had to end this, lives depended on it, both human and animal. Desperation angled her gaze toward the pile of fallen branches nearby. Everyone, grab a stick. We can help. She shouted, her heart urging every person to pick up the nearest weapon. Branches snapped and rustled as the crowd turned to action again. Each person grabbed what they could. They stood resolute now, fighting alongside the tiger. For our families. Mr. Johnson proclaimed, his stance unwavering as he lifted a thick branch over his head. As they hurled their makeshift weapons toward the python, Emma watched the tiger escalate its aggression. A primal instinct had taken over. It bounded forward again, swiping at the snake with its strong legs, a warrior for survival. The scene was nothing short of breathtaking. In that moment, amidst the chaos and fear, Emma noticed the children's faces alight with awe. Look, Mom. It's fierce. Lily shouted, her eyes wide, reflecting a blend of fear and excitement. Exactly, sweetheart. It's fighting for itself, for its home. Just like we are. Emma's heart swelled. The bond between them and the tiger was palpable, a shared resolve to reclaim their space, their right to exist in harmony with nature. But then, another segment of uncertainty flickered through her mind. The tiger was powerful, yes, but what if it didn't understand the lines between predator and prey? Emma's thoughts reeled. What if they won, yet left a creature wounded, the balance of life disrupted? Before she could finish that thought, the python lunged again, striking out. The energy in the clearing intensified, as fear clashed against determination, the crowd now holding its breath. Don't be scared. We're here. Emma's voice rang out, ringing with affirmation, urging not just the tiger but everyone to press forward. Suddenly, a fierce roar escaped the tiger's throat as it launched itself at the python again. Emma felt adrenaline surge in her own veins. This battle echoed through the heart of nature. Would they create a new balance or watch as one creature fell prey to another? The outcome remained hidden, but the stakes were clear. Emma found herself questioning not only their efforts but the true nature of survival and unity. What price would they pay when the dust settled? As the struggle ensued, Emma's gaze traveled from the python to the mighty tiger, then back to her children, caught in this wild moment. What if victory transformed them all in ways they couldn't yet understand? This moment would resonate long after the battle was over. The question was how? As the tiger and the python clashed with primal force, Emma felt every ounce of tension vibrate through the crowd. They were witnesses to a crucial battle, but also participants, woven into the fabric of this wild struggle. She steadied herself, holding on to the hope that their presence mattered, that their shouts fueled the tiger's courage. With each strike of the tiger's paw against the python's scaly hide, Emma's heart raced. The tiger was a beautiful embodiment of strength, its muscles coiling and releasing with each move. But the python was tenacious, darting and weaving, trying to dodge the tiger's ferocity. Emma could see the sweat on the brows of her neighbors, hear the hushed whispers pulling at the edges of hope. Keep it up. Just like that. She cheered. Each encouragement was a lifeline, not just for the tiger but for the families gathered there. Jake and Lily, faces painted with a mix of fear and excitement, were still flinging tiny branches at the snake. Mom! Look out! Jake screamed, pointing frantically. Emma's heart dropped as she turned her head just in time to see the python launch itself again toward the tiger. Fear clamped down on her throat. No! She cried, instinctively stepping forward as if she could shield the tiger with her own body. In that moment, something incredible happened. The tiger, as if sensing the movement, rolled to the side, narrowly escaping the snake's snapping jaws. Time seemed to freeze as the crowd exhaled collectively, holding on to that fragile thread of hope. The tiger, unfazed, returned to its feet with a newfound intensity. "She's fighting for us too," Lily whispered, her wide eyes reflecting both awe and fear. "Just like the way we fight for each other." Emma felt a surge of warmth pierce through her anxiety. In this fight for survival, she recognized a deeper truth, a reminder of the unity they all shared. But the python was relentless, adapting its strategy, shifting and waiting, like a shadow poised to strike. Then, something shifted in the air. A sudden quietness enveloped the clearing as every voice faded into stillness, each breath taken in expectancy. The tiger prowled, low to the ground, eyeing its opponent with fierce determination, and Emma sensed the moment of decision hanging between them, like an electric charge buzzing in the atmosphere. "Stand together!" Emma shouted, finding strength in her voice. "For our home. For each other." The crowd snapped back into action, hands gripping branches tighter, shouts reigniting the adrenaline that coursed through their veins. The atmosphere crackled with energy, collective courage rallying around the tiger as if it were their protector, their spirit guide in the wild. Amidst the tension, Emma's mind began to wander. What role did they play in this story? Was it truly about the survival of the fittest, or was something else blooming amidst the chaos? Could their interference alter the course of nature in a meaningful way? Suddenly, the tiger charged once more, a move so graceful yet powerful that Emma couldn't help but feel her breath catch. It leaped high, talons extended, and in that moment of grace, she felt a deep connection to the life forces swirling around them. Would they emerge stronger as a community from this struggle? having fought alongside a magnificent creature? Or would they bear witness to a cycle of violence that left them forever changed? As the tiger collided again with the python, the air around them thickened with energy and expectation. Emma's heart hammered with everything that stood on the brink. Could hope shine through, no matter the outcome? She didn't know. But one thing echoed stronger than fear: the call for unity amidst the wild. The outcome loomed, the shadows lengthened, and with every heartbeat, the air thickened with promise. What revelations awaited them all once the dust settled? The crowd held its collective breath, a tapestry of faces etched with tension and hope. Emma's pulse quickened as the intensity of the clash between the tiger and python escalated. Each blow, each twist, echoed the fear and determination rippling through the spectators. The rustling leaves and the distant sound of their own breaths filled the space, wrapping them all in an unspoken bond. "Come on!" Emma shouted, her voice breaking through the stillness. "Keep pushing!" The tiger, regal and fierce, sprang with renewed vigor. Emma could see the fire in its eyes, a fierce warrior battling against insurmountable odds. There was something impossibly beautiful about this wild moment. It felt like a reflection of their own lives, the struggles they faced in their daily existence, fighting for a better tomorrow, for loved ones, for their home. In the midst of the chaos, Jake tugged at Emma's sleeve, his small frame trembling slightly. "Are we really helping, Mom? Will it make a difference?" Emma knelt down, meeting his worried gaze. "We are part of this, Jake. Our voices, our support, it matters. Just like the tiger, we are fighting for each other. For every single person here." She felt the weight of her words, wishing they could crush any lingering doubt. As if in response to the rallying cries, the tiger launched at the python with a ferocity that left the crowd in awe. Time slowed, moments stretching under the pressure of what was at stake. Emma's heart lifted with each triumphant roar, each time the creature stood tall against its adversary. She could see why they had gathered here. This was about more than survival. It was about connection, courage, and being part of something larger than themselves. But the python was no mere foe. It coiled and lunged, countering the tiger's every move. The crowd gasped as the massive serpent struck. Emma's breath caught in her throat, fear pooling in her stomach. The creature's strategy was cunning. It would not go down without a fight. Then suddenly, a shift. The tiger let out a fearsome growl that reverberated through the clearing, asserting its ownership of the territory. Emma felt the air thrum with raw energy, a feeling rare and electric. With her eyes wide, she could see the python falter, perhaps sensing its own vulnerability. "Together," Emma urged, her tone fierce. They were woven not just into the fabric of this moment, but also tied to the outcome. She felt a spark of hope bloom, a notion that they all had the power to impact the battle. And just then, as if answering the unspoken promise in her voice, the tiger lunged again, this time with a different intent. It aimed not just to defend, but to dominate. Emma's hope ignited like wildfire. The python writhed, struggling against the tiger's strength. Emma clutched Jake's hand tightly. "Look!" she exclaimed, her voice rising. "She's taking control." The crowd erupted in cheers. Each voice built on the last, weaving a tapestry of encouragement that swirled around them, echoing off the trees that surrounded the clearing. It was a moment of collective realization. They were unbreakable, together, no matter the odds. But as the battle continued, Emma sensed a shadow of concern lingering. In the heat of the moment, what if the outcome shattered the very spirit they fought to uphold? The stakes were soaring higher and higher, and the thought twisted like a knot in her chest. Would they celebrate victory with a wild cheer, or would they witness a heartbreaking loss? Just as the uncertainty began to settle in, Emma found herself staring intensely at the tableau before her, bracing for whatever was to come, her heart fluttering with mixed emotions. The climax hummed in the air, and she knew the final moments were rushing toward them. Deep breaths united the crowd as all eyes remained fixed on the fierce dance of survival. The tiger and python were on the brink of making history together, and Emma felt the weight of every hope and fear echoed in unison. What would they learn when the dust finally settled? Would unity flourish, or would this encounter draw them apart? Each heartbeat scratched at the surface of the answer, a whisper that begged to be heard. The roar of the crowd reverberated like a heartbeat, pulsing with urgency that mirrored Emma's racing heart. She watched intently, grounded in that moment of raw emotion. The tiger, now more than a creature of the wild, symbolized their hopes, their struggles. Jake's small fingers gripped her tightly, and Emma could feel his heartbeat echoing her own. The tiger, powerful and majestic, unleashed another growl, a declaration of will that sent shivers down her spine. It was hard not to feel the weight of its power, a blend of instinct and strength, a metaphor for every challenge they faced together. Look at her, Jake. She's showing us how to fight. Emma encouraged, shifting her gaze from the chaos of the battle to her son's wide eyes. The python coiled itself tighter, its muscles rippling like thick cables as it tried to counter the tiger's advancing prowess. The moment hung heavy, flecked with tension that made Emma's chest tighten. With each staggering moment of resilience shown by the tiger, she also noted the python's cunning. Would it strike back even harder? Just as the atmosphere thickened, the tiger unleashed a ferocious leap, its body moving with a grace that belied its size. It aimed directly for the python's vulnerable underbelly, a risky gamble that sent the crowd gasping collectively. Emma felt a wave of hope swell, urging it forward like a tidal force. "Come on, you can do it!" she shouted. The words fell out, raw and potent. But the python retaliated with a speed that startled everyone. In a split second, it circled around the tiger, wrapping its thick body securely, squeezing with all its might. A gasp rose from the crowd like a single entity, a collective intake of breath shared among them. Emma's stomach dropped. Would this be where the triumph turned to despair? "Hold on." Emma squeezed Jake's hand even harder, her voice trembling with a mix of fear and determination. She had never felt so powerless. Time slowed as she watched the struggle unfold, feeling that knot in her chest tightening with every passing moment. Then, something shifted. The tiger let out a piercing roar, a sound that shook the ground beneath them. It pulsed with urgency, a primal call that resonated through the trees. Slowly, the python's grip began to loosen as that ferocity lit a spark beneath the surface of every spectator's heart. Emma could see the tiger digging deep into its strength, every muscle straining against the suffocating weight. "Don't give up." Emma called again, the primal instinct of a mother rising within her. It wasn't just the tiger in battle, it was every mother, every fighter, everywhere. Suddenly, the tiger reared back, muscles bulging against the tremendous pressure, launching itself with a new intensity, aiming to break free. Emma's breath caught as hope surged like sunlight after a storm. The python was stronger than she realized, but it seemed to falter just a beat, a fraction of time, enough for the tiger to gain ground, and then it happened. In a stunning flourish, the tiger twisted its body free, landing a blow that startled the creature beneath it. A loud snap echoed, part battle cry, part stampede. The crowd roared back, momentarily forgetting their own fear, caught in the electric air of that victorious moment. But even as the cheers reverberated through the clearing, a voice inside Emma whispered uncertainties. If they were all fighting for each other, what came next? Could they harness this unity long after the battle was over? As those thoughts simmered within, she turned to Jake, a mixture of pride and worry reflecting in her eyes. "Stay with me, okay?" she said softly. Jake nodded, his gaze locked on the battlefield. "I'm not going anywhere." But as powerful as the moment was, would the deep connections they forged in this chaos remain strong? Emma felt a swell of love for her son and the community around them, but the lingering question hung in the air like the scent of rain. Could battles shared become a foundation for a united future? As she watched the fight unfold, her heart echoed that worry, now more pressing than ever. Would they emerge from this not just as witnesses, but as warriors, champions for one another? With the clash still roaring, Emma held her breath, ready for what might come next. The air crackled with anticipation, each cheer from the crowd shooting through Emma like lightning. The tiger, emboldened by its earlier triumph, stood poised and fierce, eyes locked on the python, ready to engage a new phase of the fight. But Emma felt a fear gnawing at her insides. Was the battle truly over? Or had they only glimpsed the beginning of a greater struggle? Jake leaned closer, almost trembling, caught up in this whirlwind of adrenaline. "Mom, what if the tiger gets hurt? What if?" His voice cracked, pulling Emma from her own spirals of worry. She knelt, meeting his gaze head-on, her determination swaying the currents of fear. "It won't. It can't," she assured him, placing a hand on his small shoulder. "It's fighting for its life, just like we have to. We can't lose hope." With every moment that passed, the tension surged. The once victorious tiger had gained some ground, but the python was not finished yet. It reared up, a mountain of muscle and scales, head raised defiantly, flicking its tongue as if tasting the air for weakness. Emma's heart pounded. The battle was not just about strength, it was also about strategy. She couldn't help but draw parallels to the fights they'd faced in their own lives. Sometimes it wasn't only about the power in your fists but the will behind your spirit. "Come on, girl," she cheered, her voice ringing out with fierce encouragement. "You can outsmart it, just like you did before." A rush of energy ignited within her, and she felt the crowd's unity swell around her, an unbroken chain of shared resolve. Under the heavy, shimmering sunlight, the tiger shifted. It seemed to sense the spirit of the crowd. It must have felt the electric pull of hope that tethered Emma and Jake to it. In that moment, the animal didn't appear just fierce but also thoughtful, as if contemplating its next move as carefully as a chess piece across a battlefield. Then, in a flash, the tiger struck again. It darted left, evading the coils of the python, and leaped onto a nearby rock to gain a higher vantage point. Emma gasped, caught in the quickness of it. It took her breath away. Was this the turning point? In the stands, murmurs swelled as the crowd leaned forward, collectively holding their breath. The tiger snarled down at the python, numbing the enemy's impending confidence. With a primal roar, it launched forward again, this time aiming to strike at the python's head. The crowd exploded, a wave of sound cascading through the clearing. Emma covered her ears, eyes wide, her heart pulsing in tandem with that rhythm. But as that moment of unity exploded, Emma's senses kicked back in, her mind racing. Could this surge of shared faith be the spark they needed beyond this spectacle? As the tiger fought for its life, maybe they, too, were waging a battle, seeking to forge bonds among one another. It felt surreal. This event reflected their own struggles, their hopes merged with wild forces. "Mom." Jake's voice trembled again, snapping her back to the unfolding scene. The python twisted, its scales glistening menacingly. It lunged, mouths twisting in a clash of power, but the tiger met it head-on, refusing to be overpowered again. Emma's heart raced, fighting against the whirlpool of despair creeping up on her. The battle continued, claw against skin, scale against fur. Each heartbeat rattled through Emma as a realization dawned on her. Maybe, just maybe, this fight was not merely about survival, but about proving that they were all in this together. The moment stretched thinner, and she could almost taste renewal in the air, the fragrance of hope mingling with the sweat of fear. What if they came through this transformed, not just as individuals but as a unified force ready to tackle all that lay ahead? As the fight reached a fever pitch, a breathtaking vulnerability dawned in Emma's heart. There was something monumental happening, not just in the arena, but within each soul witnessing this. With the roar of the tiger orchestrating the show, she could only whisper as the world around her blurred. This is only the beginning. And just as the thought took root, an unexpected twist revealed itself, chilling Emma to her core. What lay hidden beneath the surface of their unity? Just a breath away from irreversible change, she felt everything shift. As the strength of the tiger surged forward, what truths would emerge in the aftermath of this wild battle? The clash continued, each thunderous sound echoing through Emma's bones. The tiger, a fierce embodiment of resilience, found its rhythm in the chaos. It leaped, spun, and dodged with a dancer's grace, but Emma could sense the strain building. Its muscles glistened under the sun, taut and powerful, while every clash with the python seemed to send ripples of concern among the crowd. "Mom, look at its eyes!" Jake cried out, excitement and anxiety wrestling within him. Emma followed his gaze, seeing the fierce determination reflected back at them. The tiger was not just a creature of instinct, it was fighting, thinking, calculating the python's every move. "Keep going," Emma urged, as if the animal could hear her through the roar of the crowd. She offered a silent prayer that the tiger had enough left in it to see this through. Then, background noise faded for a moment as she saw something on the sidelines. A young girl, perhaps Jake's age, stood visibly shaken. Her hands trembled, clutching a piece of fabric, likely her shirt. Emma's heart tightened, the girl's eyes mirrored her own fears, and without second thought, Emma reached out to comfort her. "It's going to be okay," she whispered, squeezing the girl's shoulder gently. "Just like that tiger is brave, so are you." The girl blinked and nodded slowly, drawing strength from Emma's words even as her gaze darted back to the battle. The tiger darted in and out again, snapping jaws barely missing its fur. Emma felt that unyielding urge to protect, to bond just as she had instructed Jake when he faced daunting challenges. Inspired, she glanced back at the fight. The python had coiled tighter, its massive body readying for another strike. It seemed determined to squeeze victory from the jaws of defeat. Emma's heart sank, their tiger couldn't afford a misstep now. The stakes felt impossibly high. As if sensing the grasping tension, the tiger suddenly hesitated, its breath heavy and its glare fixed. In that taut moment, Emma found herself holding her breath, feeling the fragile line between hope and despair. How could they all stand by, witnessing this battle, when they had so much power to uplift one another? It was like a mirror reflecting their lives. They fought through every hour of doubt, did they not? "Come on, girl." The crowd surged with renewed hope, their collective voices echoing her own sentiments. With each roar from the crowd, the tiger's spirit seemed to swell, and then it charged, a flash of orange and black against the green, in a move that left everyone breathless. The tiger feigned left before rolling to the right, striking the python with a powerful swipe. The crowd erupted into cheers, but Emma's heart raced for reasons beyond excitement. The python was still alive and thrashing, its strength undeterred. What if they were, in fact, witnessing something greater than a physical battle? As the python slithered and writhed, Emma could almost see the struggles of her own life reflected in the creature's relentless fight. The tiger, too, embodied that fight, and the lessons passed along could transform not just their views, but the world they lived in. Just as they were beginning to see a turning tide, the ground trembled, causing an uproar in the audience. Emma turned, her eyes widening in shock. From the shadows, 3 smaller creatures emerged, cubs. The tiger's own young prowled nervously near the arena's edge, drawn to the tumult. With a fresh wave of urgency flooding through Emma, she understood the moment. Forward wouldn't just hinge on survival. Would the tiger protect its cubs even while locked in battle, or would it risk everything? As the crowd gasped, she couldn't help but wonder, could their fight for survival now become one for unity? What would this revelation force them all to confront in themselves as they witnessed not just a battle, but a mother's unwavering devotion? The collision of desperation and love surged forward, and she was left anxiously awaiting the revelation of what came next. As the world around them spun with chaos, Emma's heart ached for the mother tiger, fiercely defending its cubs. The tension filled the air, vibrating with unspoken fears and untold hopes. Every moment felt like an eternity, as the tiger's desperate assault on the python unfolded before their eyes. Each growl echoed the struggles of all the mothers gathered in that clearing, their dreams, their battles, their unwavering spirit. Emma instinctively pulled Jake and Lily closer, both feeling the weight of the moment. "This is about family, all of us," she whispered, squeezing their hands. "Just like the tiger fights for hers." The loud hissing of the python cut through the tension, its anger palpable, coiling tight as if ready to pounce. Emma's heart sank at the sight. For every ounce of strength in that tiger, the python countered with raw survival instincts of its own. How could they help? How could they make a lasting difference in this world of shifting boundaries? Then, as if on cue, the tiger paused, its fur glistening in the golden splendor of the sunlight. Emma could see the immediate recognition in its piercing eyes. It wasn't just about winning or losing anymore. The stakes transcended the battle before them. This was about legacy, family, a bond stretching beyond the battle. "This is for you, little ones." Emma cheered, channeling every ounce of hope and courage into those words. "Feel it. Everyone, shout for that tiger." The crowd responded in a tidal wave of sound, their cheers combing through the trees like a heartbeat. The mother tiger seemed to sense the swell of acceptance and support. Strength radiated from the crowd. With a determination that spoke volumes, it leaped forward, charging at the python with raw ferocity. The earth beneath them vibrated as the python writhed, battling against control while the tiger swatted and roared, channeling the wild fury of survival. In that electric moment, something shifted. The python began to retreat, sensing the unity around it, realizing it faced more than just an individual fight. It was against a force binding together every soul watching. Emma felt her chest swell with pride. They were no longer just an audience, they were part of a force, working toward a common goal. Then, a yelp pierced the air as the tiger surged forward once again. It appeared to reach its own crescendo, and for the first time in that tumultuous afternoon, Emma caught a glimpse of change. "Look! The cubs!" Jake exclaimed, pointing as their little heads bobbed just behind thick bushes, eyes wide with worry but glimmering with hope. Those tiny faces embodied resilience, innocence, and they needed their mother. Emma's heart raced. "This isn't just a fight anymore," she said, looking at her own children's faces. "Everyone, it's a chance for healing." In that moment, she made a choice, impulsive but heartfelt. "We can't be bystanders," she announced, glancing at Mr. Johnson and the others who rallied behind her. "We need to protect the tiger, but we must also create a path for its cubs, a safe escape for all. Let us push back," encouraged Mr. Johnson, brandishing his stick fiercely. "Make room for their freedom. Show them what community really means." The crowd erupted in unison, shifting en masse, clearing a path for both the tiger and its cubs. As the barrier of sound and action unfolded, Emma felt the pulse of the moment thundering beneath their collective feet. Together they stepped forward, creating a protective line of humanity moving with purpose and strength. With every shout, they ripped away the chains of fear and doubt, unleashing a roar that enveloped the clearing, echoing back through the woods. Emma locked eyes with the tiger again, a profound understanding passing silently between them. "Go," she mouthed, urging the majestic creature forward. The tiger turned its fierce gaze, acknowledging their bond, fierce mothers protecting their own, empowering each other against the odds. With the path cleared, the tiger made its final charge. It darted toward its yearning cubs, the sound of their tiny hearts pushing through the wilderness as they embraced their mother once more. Emma's heart swelled, warmth flooding her chest as the three cubs nestled close, finding their sanctuary amidst the chaos. "This is it!" she shouted, exhilaration coursing through her. Everyone felt it, the power of transformation, of fighting for each other and embracing love. It was a beautiful tapestry of unity unfolding before their very eyes. As the python slithered away, defeated by the collective force and love, silence cradled the air like a gentle hug. They had witnessed a battle transformed into a profound shared experience. Joy bubbled to the surface, clapping resonated, and laughter rippled through the crowd. Emma knelt down, clutching Jake and Lily tightly. "We did it! Together!" Her smile stretched wide, echoing the unity they had all forged amidst the wildness. They had not just saved a tiger, they had exhilarated their own spirits in connection. "Mom, look at the tiger," Lily whispered, her voice full of wonder. "It's really happy." The sight of the mother tiger, now free with its cubs, turning to lock eyes with the crowd, was forever etched in Emma's heart. It was a reminder that change starts from within, that hope can flourish in even the darkest of moments. As they gathered to leave, Emma felt the familiar strength pulsing through her veins. Their journey had transformed them all. With spirits entwined, they emerged more than just a community, they were a family, emboldened to fight for each other, for every challenge that lay ahead. And in that moment of realization, one strong voice rose from the crowd: "Let us not let this unity fade." With that sentiment echoing in her own heart, Emma turned to friends and neighbors, a vibrant smile framing her determination. "You need to subscribe now," she urged, urgency infusing her voice. "This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help us share this incredible journey. Comment how this has inspired you and your feelings about this powerful ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to experience this transformational story. The forest buzzed with energy, the promise of tomorrow painting vivid moments of connection in all their hearts. Together, they could face down any giant, be it python or life itself. And as they walked home, arm in arm, they felt absolutely alive.